We're going to welcome the congressman from the 35th District, Congressman Greg Casar. Hey, Greg, thank you so much for joining us. I think that's going to be on, too. You can just hang out with us, Richard, if you want. Sure. Congressman.
Hi.
Super busy. I was just explaining to the audience that everyone's schedule's in flux. We're so grateful for your time. It looks like somebody grabbed you to talk to you.
Yeah.
Is there breaking news in Texas, or they want to see how you're feeling about the convention?
Well, it is nonstop here at the convention. It's so high energy. Everybody wants to talk about how it feels across the country and all of the energy in Texas, all of the young people that are now getting involved. It's just, people are pulling us left and right because we're having a moment, and we want to extend that all the way through Election Day.
Well, there are folks who are talking about Texas being in play.
Well, we are the biggest battleground state, and I think it's important to look at the trend line. I represent San Antonio up to Austin, Texas. And when George W. Bush was running for president, he won the popular vote in Austin, of all places. When I had my first ever vote that I got to cast as an 18-year-old, it was for President Barack Obama. He lost by double digits in Texas. Joe Biden brought it to within 5 points. So I think we're going to get closer and closer. That trend line is headed in the right direction. Lightning could strike with this election if we get rid of Ted Cruz and flip the state. But even if we don't, and I certainly hope it will be working for us to do so, but even if we don't, as we get closer and closer to Texas flipping, that will change the nation's politics, because that's 40 electoral votes.
Yep.
If the Republicans don't get those 40 electoral votes, they're kaput. They've got to transform or go the way of the Whigs and disappear. I mean, it's serious.
There's a book called Strangers in Their Own Land about why folks in communities throughout places like Texas, Louisiana, vote against their own interests. And a lot of it has to do with cultural identity. There's a one woman I spoke to said she rang a bell and they said, "Are you a Democrat or Republican?" They said Democrat. She was like, "Well, I'm a Christian. I can't vote for Democrats." Is there a lot of that you continue to see where they're tying that together? Or have issues like Roe v. Wade, abortion care, or wages, or climate change, is it all having an impact on how people are thinking about?
Let's talk about abortion care, and then let's talk about wages. On abortion care, the right wing and Republicans have been able to campaign on that as a theoretical issue for so long. But then they finally ended up doing this horrific thing of banning abortion virtually in every single case. And now people's lives are on the line. I mean, now, I hate to say it, but it's true. It's dangerous to be pregnant in Texas for so many people. And now it's no longer a theoretical issue. I'm this faith or that faith, or I think this. This could really hit somebody you know and love. So I think that has changed the politics on that issue. And then on wages, I think it's so important to remember that people like LBJ delivered more progressive wins than virtually any other president ever. It's from Texas. It used to be that Democrats were known as the party of the working person.
Yes.
And re-engaging with our voters and focusing on things like what Vice President Harris is focusing on, taking on corporate landlords, taking on the big monopolies that are jacking up prices at the grocery store. If people remember and re-engage with the Democratic Party as the party of working people, then I think the strangers in your own land thing starts wiping itself away. Yeah, because there's a lot more working people than billionaires.
1,000%.
Well, and the strength that we see the same thing in all facets of this conversation. The middle class is what's built the country consistently, and the middle class has consistently saved the country. But I want to come back to something that you said earlier about the way in which the Republicans have sort of the dog caught the car with regard to the abortion, with women's health and reproductive rights, and now they don't know what to do with it. And I keep asking so many different people. And by the way, I'm Richard Chu. I'm host the morning show. Yes, sorry, this guy just lands in. The representative. Who is this dude?
Yeah, he's the morning host joining us.
Hey, I'm chill about it. Anybody can drop in.
Nice to see you. But they've caught. They're the dog that caught the car on this issue, and they don't have a way out. It seems, and particularly with the state legislature, they don't have a way out of this other than to make it worse. But that's going to seemingly drive more younger voters away from the Republican Party.
I mean, their way out on it is to just admit they were wrong and do you think the obvious right. I don't think they'll do it. I mean, I wish they would. I mean, here's the thing. Just for a second, it's a level set. I mean, I know we're at the convention. I'm a lifelong Democrat. At the end of the day, I don't want this to be a political issue. It's a terrible thing that's happening to people in my state every day. And if they could just say, hey,
we made a mistake.
They made a mistake. They were doing it for politics. And now that it's happened and it's actually killing people and ruining and screwing up people's lives, sorry, we'll just go back.
Yeah.
I would take that as a win.
Yeah.
We would take that as a win. But I don't think that they'll do it.
If Texas, in my observation, Representative, if Texas wanted to truly be a leader right now, that's the issue, that they could actually say, you know what, we got this one wrong, and we're going to send a message to the rest of the country. How powerful would that be if the leaders in the state of Texas, Republican and Democrat, but mostly Republican because that's who's leading the conversation on this subject, said what you just said, we got this one wrong.
But the people who are leading right now are a coworker at an Amazon warehouse saying, I'm going to cover your shift so that you can drive to Kansas to get the abortion care you need. It is women and volunteers in the Midwest that are helping coordinate money and logistics for women in Texas to be able to get out of the state.
Yeah.
So it's everyday people. Yeah, it's people in Illinois and New Mexico setting up whole clinic spaces for Texans who are fleeing. So I wish we had one iota of that level of bravery or energy from Republican leadership in Texas, but it seems that they just decided to be cruel and mean.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be. That's why I said it doesn't seem that they want to take the lead and back away from it, because that would show leadership.
Yeah, right. And the thing is, you mentioned that it's dangerous to get pregnant in Texas. It's actually pregnant for any woman in the United States. Anyone who travels through a place like Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. I mean, yeah, but most
Betty, that's why I said
I have to let the congressman go. No,
right.
There was another voice that came out and said he has got to go. No more questions. But here's my question: how can we support the work that you do for folks who are listening around the country?
Yeah.
Look, it is so important to get involved, to organize your friends, to get people to speak up on these issues. We're so thankful to people outside of Texas for taking care of Texans who are fleeing the state, tripping in on key races like calling All Reds race to get rid of Ted Cruz. So important. And for us to speak up to Democratic senators to end the filibuster, because the filibuster is a key thing that even if we flip the House and hold on to the Senate, we've got to have a carve out of the filibuster, which has been used to block civil rights legislation in the past. We can't let it block this kind of legislation now.
That's Congressman Greg Casar from Casar from the 35th District of Texas. Thank you so much, sir.